He just put that water down.
Hello, everyone. Patriot 5 and Patriot 6 here. Gary. Well, Gary was talkative tonight. Came on, he talked to himself. God bless, be safe, watch your back. Wow. And then Janet finally come on. Hi, Ralph and Ron. Hi, Janet. Hi, Gary. I'm just teasing you, Gary. Then Papa G pops in. Janet and Janet. David Duffy, good to see you. Papa G and David. Guys, I'm gonna play the music. I'm gonna say the pledge, and then we're gonna get on with the show.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this man. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. And I'm proud to be an American. At least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
God bless the USA. Proud to be an American. And tonight when I did my preview for the show, it tells me to add some things that you want to talk about. And I said, proud to be an American. And I want to talk about proud to be an American after I come back from talking to the kids, because I really am proud to be an American, and I think everybody should be. But I also want to talk a little bit of stuff of what's going on, something me and Ron just finished talking about. But I'm going to say it in a more positive mood that me and Ron did. Because right after we had that talk, I went to look for some things to talk about tonight. And one of our followers, Kevin, made a statement on our Telegram site. I want to read. It's very small. I want to read it because it's going to go into conjunction with some other things. Because I don't know about you guys here, Jeffrey and Janet. I don't know about you, Papa G and Beth Shaw. Good to see you here. Ron Anderson, I know your opinions. We talk about them all the time. Johnny Holiday, I don't know your opinions, but here's the deal. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So, Jimmy, I do not know any cures for toothaches. I'm not a person that likes to go to the dentist. I do whatever I can to take care of it when I have one. But if it's too bad, you might have to get Dad to get you into the dentist. But the problem is, Jimmy, which you'll find in everything, prices are supposed to be going down because we have the world's greatest president in there. The president that promised that he'd do everything. He is. He's raising the prices higher than Joe Biden did. But he'll stand there and pat himself on the back, young man, and tell you what he's doing good. And I'm going to get into that in the grown-ups part of the show tonight. Patriot 11, I was about to say, hey, we should maybe get to talk, or I should get to hear from Grandma because she might be coming home. Last night, I went outside with my little dog, Patriot 11. I went outside with her, took her out. It was about 10 minutes after midnight, actually today then. 49 degrees still outside, no wind at all. I got up to take her outside at 6:30 this morning, and it was so windy. Oh, but let's remember, we had like 2.5 inches of snow. 2.5 inches of snow in that time when it was nothing but stars in the sky 6 hours earlier. I'm a firm believer that I'm going to talk about that in the show tonight too. Patriot Wyatt Earp, Karate Kid, I hope you and your family, our little wrestler there too. I hope you and your mom and dad and both of you are doing great. Patriot Princess, our queen, I hope you're doing good too, along with your brother Hunter. Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. You know, the 4 Bs. You know, Grandpa's always around you, always helping you, always taking care of you. Love him like he deserves to be loved. Patriot Little Leona and Little Elan, you're growing like crazy. Grandpa Mike is supposed to give me some pictures. I got to go for a minute, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry, my little dog had fallen and I had to help her. Patriots 17 and Cutie Pie, I know what you're going through. We got letters from your moms, your aunts. I wish they would have taken you to the orphanage when they went. And I'll talk about that in the show because it would be quite the experience. Patriot Super Gymnast. To say I'm proud of you is an understatement. But yes, hey, Lori. Hey, David, Kevin, Ian. To say I'm proud of you is an understatement. And you know it. You told me, hey, RP, you told me what you wanted for your birthday because I tried to get you and I let you actually pick it out and I'll order it tonight. But you know you got me wrapped around your finger. But when your mom showed me the videos of you yesterday and I told you the truth. See, guys, when Patriot Super Gymnast decided to take up gymnastics 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I said, good, you'll be great, because that's what a grandpa should say. Always support your grandkids, and that's what I did. But inside me, I was saying, oh my God. She couldn't even bend over to tie her shoes. She was so uncoordinated at the time. But she found something she loved, Janet. And you know her. You know how you and her used to get along. And she talks to me about you a lot. Tell Janet I said hi, so Ella says hi. She's close to doing the running backward flip. She needed just a little assistance. And by this time next week, she'll have it. She can do the splits now. She was decided to go into cheerleading next year when they play football. Hi, Carrie. She's going to be a cheerleader. It's going to be a great time. I'm so proud of her for what she's accomplished. She's a straight A student on the dean's list. She's got an award for being the smartest kid in the school before. But she's not the smartest kid in the school, but she's never got anything under an A. She tells me all the time, Papa, I got 100%. She told me the other day she got 105%. Yes, special beds, Carrie, are needed very much. We're going to talk about that tonight. Patriots 7. He played his last basketball game for the league he's been in now since he was 4 years old. Yesterday was his last game, and it was kind of sad because he worked his butt off. But of baseball and football and basketball, I would have to say that baseball is his best sport, then football, of which he's a Super Bowl champion, and then basketball, he played it because of his friends. But he worked hard, and he was standing up wide open under the basket on 10 different occasions. And the coaches thought it was okay for kids to shoot three-pointers. 10 and 11-year-old kids, instead of learning the game and passing the ball for the best possible shot. If they pass in the ball, even if he's a dork and a layup, he can only make 5 out of 10. He scores 10 points. But the kid that was shooting the three-pointers, on 7 of the times he should have passed, he missed all 7 of them. The other 3 that he should have been passed to, they missed every shot. But that's okay. They won the game, and that's all that mattered to the coaches and the other players. My grandson looked at me and said, I'm glad it's over. I don't want to play no more. I want to get ready for baseball. Will you help me, Papa? Patriot, Small Hank. Me and him had a few confrontation words tonight. He's getting to the age, he'll have a birthday next year. He'll be 9 years old. And he's getting to the age where he's getting at, you know, David and Carrie and Janet, you remember the kids getting a certain age, he gets a smart mouth. Plus he hears things his mom says. And one of the things about my grandson is loose lips sink ships. And when he hears someone say something, he's not one that can keep his mouth shut. I love him dearly, Lynn Date, what? Trick or whatever. I love him dearly, but the fact remains that he's loose lips. Me and him had a little bit of a confrontation tonight when he told me in my home that I needed to do something, and I set him straight because kids need to be set straight. Patriot, little gymnast, who used to be Patriot Monkey, Patriot Little Gymnast. She played her last game for the season. She'll be back next year. She moves up to the next league next year, and that's going to be a hoot because she don't even care. She just wants to go out there and walk up and down the court and see how cute she can be. But she came up yesterday and she said, I made 14 baskets today. In the game, she made 4. But she said 14, and she wasn't lying because when they was practicing, she made 10 in a row. They was right under the basket, flip it up. I don't care. She's about this tall, and I was proud of her. And then Patriot, little Kira. And Patriot Super Gymnast had her birthday last week on the night that we had the terrible storm. My son dropped her off so he could go help take care of his mother's car that was ruined by the hailstorm. And when she walked into the kitchen of my daughter's house, she seen me sitting at the table. She lives with me. She seen me a half an hour before that when I left. She comes running over to me and says, Grandpa, I missed you so much. And you know, you can't get enough of them moments when you're a grandfather or a grandpa. Any grandparent will attest to that. So that concludes tonight's version of the kids. Also concludes tonight's version of the music. The music we played tonight, we have no legal rights to. We played it because we love it. And it's our theme song. Got to answer a text.
Who's it text from?
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. It was a text from one of our people and was telling me a little bit of something about, I'll talk about it in a little bit. Oh. If this person wasn't so important, I wouldn't take these texts, but so as I said, I was on Telegram on our site to talk about some things. And now I lost the page. I got to find our site. And I do want to talk about some things because it has such a dealing. It has such a great thing. On the site, Jimmy had asked, what can you take for a toothache? So if anybody has a remedy, put it up there. It might help him. I know that if he was here, if Myrna was here, she'd have a remedy, because I swear Myrna, and I'm not being disrespectful because I love Myrna with my whole heart. I know that Myrna has a remedy for everything because she studies it so much. But on the show, on the page, Jeffrey Reinhardt, one of our followers. Oh, never mind. Jeffrey, give the answer. Put cloves of warm water, then rinse your mouth. You can also put a clove directly on it. Hope this helps. But Kevin talked about a guy that likes to say, hi, guys. It's me, guys. Guys, I got some great news, but I can't tell you guys. But here's what Kevin said about the great newsman. And I'm going to talk about the great newsman's last video. The great newsman says, can't say much, guys. Close to. I'm under an NDA again. This is the 6th or 7th NDA this man has been under. If him and Donald Trump stood in the same room, I don't know who would pat themselves on the back more. Maybe they'd pat each other. And I know I made a mistake and said that, and I'm sorry. Kevin also says it would be better if him and BRUCE just said nothing. But saying nothing doesn't pay the bills. Now, the video that I'm talking about, Patriots Savior, who is the person I just talked to, Patriots Savior sent me a video of this man, this guy that likes to say, hey, guys, hey, guys. And he goes on and he says, hey, guys, I haven't talked to you for a while. I just wanted to tell you we're close. I can't say anything, guys, because I'm under an NDA. But let me know. I'll let you know that we are close. But I don't want to get in trouble. Guys, to all my fans, to all my followers, thank you for supporting me. AKA should have said, thank you for making me a richer man where I can live. Yes. And he said, I got to go, but we are close. We are close. If I had a dime and doubled it every time that man told us we were close, I could support everybody in this group. And I'm not cutting the man down. But then the other night on the big call, the night that we might be having a celebration call, he had said, we might have to move the celebration call up to Wednesday because he had a commitment. This man's been doing this for 15 years. People has followed him. People has made him a very rich man. But on the other guy that, hey, guys, he's got this thing under there. Now, he don't ask for money, but boy, if you click on the heart, da-ding, he gets paid for it. If you click on something else, da-ding, he gets paid for it. It's an advertisement method that they've mastered. Why does these people think that they have to keep taking money and making money? On the big call Thursday night, I really didn't discuss it much because it wasn't worth discussing. Sue was in charge. So Sue let Bob talk first, and Bob talked about his products, selling his products. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. If it's Bruce in the big call, why don't Bruce do his segment first and then let them two do it? You know why? Because if he doesn't keep till the end, nobody's going to watch the rest of it. You can't sell programs over and over and over. And our president made the statement, anybody taking advantage of the people of the United States of America by taking money, by making them pay money, will pay in the end. But they keep doing it. They keep doing it. And that is something that really bites my butt. It really does. It's a figure of speech. But as I said, Kevin, can't say much, guys. We're close, guys. I'm under an NDA, guys. Same old crap, just in a different video. When has he ever said anything in a video? And people, you can say the same thing. When have I ever said anything? But if I'm not saying the right thing, a lot of times it's your fault because I use everything you guys give me. I'm not going to come over on here and make money. I wish I would have. I wish Papa G and Carrie and Ian and Betty Woods, good to see you, Betty. I wish I could turn back the clock and say, hey, when this place here come and said, hey, we'll make sure you got 50 to 100,000 viewers. Every video you have will have 50 to 100,000 and maybe more. We'll make sure you have that. And you'll make X amount of money every show. All you have to do is when the show's over, the people that watch it after that, which most of them will, that's when they watch it because they get a list to go watch this video and go watch this, and then they get paid for watching it. They have to watch 5-second commercials. And in our show, they would have put, since we're an hour-long show, they would have put probably 5 or 6 commercials at the end of 10, at the end of 20, at the end of 30, 40, 50, and probably about the 58-second mark to make sure they got the 6th one in. And we would have made income on that. And I could have took that income, put it in the bank, and when people needed help, I could have helped them. We've had people, so many people that need help. We have so many people that need the beds. And we're going to talk about them in a minute. But I didn't do it because I made a promise to God that I would never take money. Somebody in our group a long time ago sent me cash. Thought if I sent me cash, I'd keep it. It's non-traceable. If they ever decide they want to tell everybody here I took it, that I can't say I never took any money. No, I give it back. I sent it back. Yes, I've had help with my laptop, and I thank the person who had me. She's a very amazing woman. She hasn't been on much here lately. She hasn't been posting much here lately. But I think a lot of reason we're not posting is because all that comes out is crap. When you go there, there's stuff posted that's crap. It's lies. It's why is it there? You understand what I mean? People are posting, believing in it, but we all know, hey, it's not going to happen. And something me and Ron just talked about tonight was the beds. And me and Ron were discussing, and we said the beds don't do anybody no good if they don't release them. They don't do any of us. Would you say I'm right, David Duffy, Papa G, Ian Bell, and Betty Woods? They don't do us a bit of good, do they? You know, anybody here, you know, Janet and Ian, Kevin. It doesn't do us any good if we don't get them. We have a guy on here named Michael, and everybody should say a prayer every day for Michael. Because Michael's in his bed, he can't move. Chances are he won't make it. But I'm going to tell you a really, really sad story. The other day I was at a Cash Bash. It's an annual event that I go to, and Ron used to go, but he hasn't went the last couple of years, Tony Lindate. And I go to it, and it allows me for when I pay, or Ron pays $100 for our ticket, we can both go. We can eat, we can drink, and we can be happy, have a great time. We can play the wheel and make money. We can play blackjack and make money. We can play craps and make money, or we can play. It's called bingo, and what it is you buy a card for $5 or $10. You get the card, you go stand up front, and there's usually about 100 people standing up there paying $5. They'll start calling a number. If you have your number on the card, you got to sit down. But if you get a card completely to the end and you're the last one standing, you get 50% of the pot. And you know what's funny? I'll play bingo. When I used to work at the factory with Ron and Russ, my mom used to go play bingo, and people would hold their cards after they won till my mom could win. That's how much my mom was loved. But if I sit down and play bingo, I wouldn't do that. If I won, I was going to win because I never win at bingo. But it's funny because they'll call B7 and I look and I don't got no B7. They'll call N11 and I'll whatever it is and I don't even know. They'll call these numbers and they'll call 20 numbers. And if I get one or two, it's amazing. But boy, when they call bingo like this and they call the number, I'm out on the first or second one every time. One year I stood up there and I played a trick on all of us because we all, Ron and my brother Russ and my son and other people, we put $20 in a kitty. So when they come around to sell these tickets, when they come around to sell the 50-50 tickets where you can win 50%, and they usually always sell 100 tickets. So you can win 250 on a 5, 500 on a 10, and a lot of money on the 20. And they have several of these. They make a lot of money, and it's for a good cause. And one year I got tired of walking down and losing after the first number. And the first number was called and I was out, but I stayed there. The second number was called and I was out again. The first 5 numbers that was called, I was out on every one of them, but I stayed there and I stayed there. And every time a number was called, I'd go like this because I moved on. And it got down to me and one other person. And they called a number and the other person didn't have it. I took my ticket. I crumbled it up and I just threw it up in the air. But I smiled because I knew I got to stay up there. I knew I got to stay up there and people thought I had a chance to win. When I explained to my brother Ron and my brother Russ afterwards, they wasn't the happiest people in the world. But I had fun. And that's what it's about, is when you're doing something for charity, it's to have fun. But we talked. And at this event the other day, there was a man walked in, and I'm telling you, the place where we have this event, this town rigs it to the people in that town win. But this man walks in, and he's crippled, and he's got 2 canes, and he's walking. I cleared the way for him. I walked, and I told him, here's a nice place for you to sit. You don't have to walk very far. He said, thank you. I said, by the way, you from Herscher? And he said, yes. My brother Russ, who is a guy that gets on the bus and helps the little kids get on and off. Imagine that. They start kids to school so young, they don't even know how to get on and off of the bus. And now us taxpayers have to pay other people money so they can do that. You know what? Why don't they get babysitters and keep their kids at home so us senior citizens don't have to keep paying taxes, Bill Woods and Papa G? But I looked at this man and I said, I'm going to bless you today. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to bless you. You're going to win at least $1,000. He goes, thank you. They have a thing there that the very first ball drawn out, what they do, they have 280 balls in this thing. They pull 2 balls out. One of them they put in a little gold bag and the other one in a little silver bag, and they hang them up just above where they're talking. Them are your winners. The silver bag is a $500 winner, and the gold bag is a $5,000. But when they draw the very first number to go, when they draw that very first number, the very first person out, if you're there, wins $500. The very first number was that crippled man's number. He won $500, and he cheered and he cheered and he cheered. But he had 2 numbers. Him and his wife each had one. He looked at me and said, you said I was going to win $1,000. I said, don't give up yet. At the very end, when they're just getting ready to call the final 2 balls and everything else has been paid out. Several years ago, me and Ron was going to a different cash bash. And they had a pool there that was called the Crapper Pool. They got a little kids potty training pool, and they put the numbers in. And if your number went out for $10, you could rebuy that number. And at the end of the night, they would pull that number out. And if your number was one pulled out, you got 50%. Well, let's face it, in this, there was about 230 people that went out. Now, if everybody was to rebuy their numbers, that's 2,300. That's 1,150. We won that pool over in Ashcombe one time. I think we split because everybody used to buy them back then. In Herscher, not many. But in Herscher, enough bought that When the other guy's number went out, he's sitting there. There's nothing more to go. And he looked at me and said, you told me I was going to win at least 1,000. They pull the number out. They call the number, and the guy looked at me and said, how did you know? He won the crapper pull. He won the first pull and the final pull, except for the 2 balls that was remaining, the 2 ones. The crapper pull was $580. He won $1,080. I knew, because I know the people in Herscher, when people are hurting, they make sure that they win. It's the most rigged organization I've ever seen. But me and Ron pay $100. This year, Ron paid $100. When we go, we drink, we have a good time, we eat, and we have a great time. You could not go anywhere and drink and eat and have a chance to win money like we did for $50 a piece. So there we go. But I want to continue on that story.
Eat and drink.
Eat and drink, yes. I want to continue on that story because, see, there was another cripple man there. He was in a wheelchair. And he was sitting at a table with a girl that's a banker where I bank. And I usually don't go inside the bank. I go to the window, and that's where she's at. And I looked at her, and I said, Sue, can we talk? And they said, yeah. This was right towards the end. Her sister, the man's husband that's in the wheelchair, was sitting across from her. I said, Sue, what's wrong with your brother-in-law? Well, he was injured in a car accident about 17 years ago, and he has no feeling. He has no movement from his legs down, his waist down. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. But what have I told you? That very soon he's going to walk, he's going to run, he's going to do whatever. And the man's eyes went like this. He looks at me and says, have you been drinking? I said, some, but I didn't really. It's the first cash bash I ever went to that I didn't drink much, and I didn't flirt with women, because I love to flirt. But then I have a little girl in the Ukraine that I don't want to disrespect her, so I didn't flirt. And I started to talk to Sue, this man's sister-in-law, and his wife is over there listening. And I said, have you ever heard of special beds? And I said the regular name. And she said, no. And the wife said, yes, I have. What do you know about him? I sat there for the next 20 minutes explaining. She said, oh, my God, he will walk again. I said, yes. She says, do you know how soon? I said, if all goes right, they're supposed to be announced on the 22nd of this month that they're going to be released on the 2nd of next month. But I said, see, I know Sue, and I know this man needs them. So I will put Ron as one of my 8 people. Then Ron can invite 8 people, and we're going to make sure them 16 people that this man is taken in there and taken care of. I looked over, and this lady, his wife, had tears coming down her cheeks. She was so happy. Guys, I'm telling you, Janet and David and Jeffrey and Larry, I'm telling you, when you share this with people and they see the possibilities, they get overwhelmed. When you can show them proof on your phone that they do exist, when you can tell them at the hospital that they go to, they're there, they're just hiding in plain sight. It's an amazing feeling. There was another gentleman there, a great friend of ours. He used to drive truck for FedEx, not the other one, the brown one. The brown trucks, I can't think of the name right now. But anyway, he used to drive truck, and them trucks are so light. And he was traveling, and he went from one road, and he went up from a blacktop road to a gravel road, and he hit the loose gravel. He lost control of his truck. It turned over and over. The reason this young man is alive today, because he was avid on working out, keeping himself in shape. He ended up losing his arm from about here down. He has a hook now. He's had it for over 25 years. You never know it bothers him, because it doesn't. But I got talking to him the other day. But first I had to put him in his place, because Larry Smith and David and Cindy, he looks at me. He comes in and he cracks a joke about me. And I looked at him, and he's got this hook. And I said, you like to fish, don't you, Brett? And he said, I love to fish, Ralph. You know that. And I said, well, I can see the hook, but I don't see the line and sinker. And he looked at me and he said, oh, my God, Ralph. He said, I've had so many people joke to me about this. I've never heard that line. He laughed at it. And then we stood there and talked about these special bets. 2 people at that place I touched. The people that won the $1,000 that I first told, I went over and talked to them. When I got done, my brother Russ, our partner, me and Ron's partner in crime, he looked at me and said, "What are you talking to these people about?" I said, "I'm giving them hope, Russ." He said, "About what?" I said, "The special beds." I called him by name. He said, "I don't believe in them." I said, "Well, that's too bad because you don't know nothing about them." Because like me and Ron, we're educating ourselves. But I said, "Russ, in school, you was always known as the smartest one of me, Ron, and you. You were smarter than Rhoda. You was the one that could have went to college, but you went to the military instead because we didn't have the money. But you had all this intelligence, and now you're the dumbest one in the family." He looked at me and I said, "This guy's not drinking, but I'm tired of people cutting us down, Jerry. I'm tired, Tony. I'm tired, David. I'm tired, Papa G and Janet, of people cutting us down because we have taken the time to learn things and they just sit on their BUTTSs doing nothing." I almost said the ASS. Do you agree with that, Cindy? We are in a time that we're so close, but me and Ron discussed it doesn't matter how close we are. It doesn't matter where we're at. What matters until they release them, it isn't going to matter. When my brother Russ looked and said they're not helping, I showed him videos of children playing. He says, "So what? They're playing their kids." I said, "Yes, now read the article." And it said in the article, these were kids that was rescued from where. I told him where. I said, read the article, Russ. These kids were rescued. They didn't know who they was. They didn't know what they was, and now they're out playing. And one kid just happened to have an ice cream cone. And I said, and that's what all of them are saying. We want to be able to eat ice cream. When I talk about the children, the two children that's in our group now, Patriot 17 and Patriot Cutie Pie, when I talk about them, they are kids that don't know what it's like to go outside. My last letter I got and the letter Ron got over the weekend from these girls. When we get these letters, both of these girls are telling us we're going to the orphanage this weekend. When I first started writing Julia and she started writing me 7 years ago this month, next month in April, 7 years ago, every week she was telling me her and Masha, her best friend, was going to the orphanage. They might not have much money back then. They was okay because the women were still getting paid, but they would go and they would take clothes, they would take cookies, they would take anything they could. And these kids loved them. 7 years later, they haven't been to the orphanage for almost 3 years now because of the war. And they don't want people coming in and out. But the war is kind of, in my terms, over. And I've got her convinced and the other girl, Masha, convinced that it's over because now they can go in places and they're not scared. When they went in there, kids kept running up and jumping on them, hugging them, telling them, "Aunt Julia, Aunt Masha, we love you. We love you. We've missed you so much." They haven't been there for 3 years. And these kids loved them. They took some colors. They took what they could take. And now they're going to start running an award out there. They're going to start running, going to neighbors. What can you donate? What can you donate? And their goal is to start going back every week. But remember, Papa G, remember some of the things I said I want to do. Some of the things that Patriot 5, Patriot 6, and 5 family want to do in the humanitarian projects. Some of the things we want to do is work with children. We want to get children a home, parents that will love them. And I got this idea when I'm talking to Julia the other night, reading her letter, and I wrote her back and I said, "Julia, you're going to go to this orphanage and we're going to fix this orphanage up when we get the money. Before you come to the United States, we're going to fix it up. You're going to have people that will be working. The kids will have beds. They'll have not cell phones. They'll have tablets. There'll be computers. They're going to be able to live like kids." But I said, my goal is to get all of these kids families. In a letter from her the other day, she said, "Ralph, it's so sad of all the people we've lost in our country and in Russia. The empty chairs at the kitchen table at supper time, the empty beds that will never be slept in." And when she said that, it hit me. And I'm going to tell you guys, I cried like a little baby. But I said, we got to do something. So think of this, guys. For our project, we can fix up this orphanage, but we can also run ads on TV, radio, and everywhere in that country and in Russia. And we can say, for anyone who wants a child, we have them adopted and it will cost you nothing. You prove that you're worthy and you get the child. We're not going to charge for it. We're going to get these kids parents. But here was our main slogan. We can't take away the pain. We can't bring your child back, but we can help ease the pain. And I use the term of my favorite movie all time is Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come and ease the pain. If you build it, these people from the 1919 White Sox who are suffering in heaven because they did something they shouldn't have did, and they really didn't do it, but they made it look like it, and they was banned from baseball. Shoeless Joe Jackson, maybe the greatest player ever, was banned, never made the Hall of Fame. In the series, he hit almost 400, hit the only home runs in the series, and drove in more runs than anybody, but they banned him because he took a little bit of money. He didn't even know what it was for. He wasn't the most intelligent, smartest guy, but he was a great baseball player. So the show was, if you build it, they will come. And when he built it, when he tore his cornfields down and left a little bit left at the end of the left field fence, when he built it, all of a sudden these ghosts of 1919 and other players who had been so rudely taken care of, they came out and they started playing. They had enough. Can we invite some others? So we got enough to play a real game. And he said, yes. Ease the pain. Ease the pain was a symbol for his dad. His dad, he finally got reunited. I've seen this movie 20 times, and this part here chokes me up. Ease the pain was he got to play catch with his dad. His dad got to meet his granddaughter and his wife. I'm sorry, I get sentimental on that. But if you build it, they will come. So if we build this thing for these orphanages, the parents will come. We cannot bring their children back. Only God can do that. But we can ease the pain by letting them adopt a son or a daughter, whatever they lost. 2 or 3 if they really want to ease the pain. And these children can have loving parents. And these parents can go on with their lives. And when they get on these beds and live hundreds of years, they can live hundreds of years. And by the time they live one, they're going to accept these children as their own. And then all of a sudden, everything is going to fall into place. And all of these children in these 2 countries will have parents. And then we start working in the United States and other countries. I've talked to a young girl in Russia that she is willing to work with me there. I haven't sat down, Lynn, Dayton, Janet, and Tony. I've been making plans. And that's why it frustrates me so much to see these people constantly promise us. It's always the same thing on Thursday night. We're going to get the notifications over the weekend. We're going to go to the redemption centers on Monday and Tuesday. And I'm not going to lose hope because I believe we are. I believe we're going to go one of these days and remember, like the slogan in the Little Giants, it only has to happen once. You know, guys, I don't know like how you like the show, but what I've explained to you tonight, things we want to do, when I've explained to you what people are doing, and that I love these shows because it brings out, you've seen me, I fought tears back to get out a saying. And I've watched this show at least 20 times.
Oh.
I talked to Julia and I said, when I was 65 years old, Julia, my daughter gave me a birthday present. Her and her family were going to take me to Field of Dreams because that is my dream. She was going to take me there. It's 7 years later now. My daughter has went. She hasn't went on the vacation this year yet. She'll go in July. She's went on 6 vacations with her family, other places. While she's gone, twice a day I drive from Buckingham to Clifton, Illinois to take care of her dogs. I sit over there for an hour to 2 hours each time so the one doesn't have to be in a cage and the other one, just as the older one, just snuggles up to me. I stay over there. Sometimes I stay longer. I've driven in terrible weather, but I do it because it's the right thing to do. But yet in 7 years, my daughter's not taking me to Field of Dreams, and I don't care. Because now I have the plan when all of these people from the Ukraine get here, we're going to take a trip. And I did stretch it a little bit. I said, I'd love to go with just you. Tell everybody else that me and you're just going on a date. We'll be back in 24 hours. Let everybody else just go on. And we go to Field of Dreams, just me and you. And I get a game of catch with her. I always wanted it with my son. I always wanted it with Ron. But I'll get that game of catch with Ron because then we'll go back as a family It'll probably be we'll go as a family at first and we won't go just me and her. But it's the dreams that you have. Anybody here, David and Tony, Larry Smith and Janet, do any of you have dreams that there's something you just want to do? Maybe you want to go on a cruise and just see what it's like to be pampered. To any time of the day you want to go get something to eat or drink. You know, they now have cruises that you can pay a little extra and all your drinks are free. Your sodas are always free, but you can go any place. Or you can have meals, suppers. And I'll tell you a story. The first cruise I went on, I got hooked in with a group of people from a group of a business we was working. They weren't in my group, but they took me in like I was their brothers. My ex-wife, like they was right there together. And me and this one man named Barry, we love prime rib. And the first night they had prime rib, I looked and I said, I'll have the prime rib rare. And I told them. They brought it and I looked and I said, you can already order me another one. That's not big enough. And the other guy, Barry, said, thanks for saying that, Ralph, because my wife told me I couldn't have any. As soon as they brought the second one back, I looked at him and I said, you might as well bring me another one because I'm not going to get out of here without having at least 3 or 4. They did, and there was no problems. Me and him have laughed about that since. They're from New Orleans, and we laugh and we have fun. But then the final night there, they had prime rib again. So when they come around to order, they said, what would you like for your hors d'oeuvre? And I said, prime rib. So what would you like for your meal? And I said, prime rib. So what would you like to drink? And I said, prime rib and water. What would you like for your dessert? And I said, prime rib. And they said, sir, should we just bring you the whole prime rib? And Barry looked and said, that would be nice. Bring us a knife too so we can cut our own. And we had fun, guys. And that's maybe a cruise like that, something you really want. You can try things you've never tried in your life. I found out that I really like snails. Things that I never would think about eating, I like. Because if I didn't, it didn't matter. If I didn't eat it, it didn't matter, David or Larry, Papa G. But that's what life is about.
Oh.
I read an article the other day, and this is an article I like, that they're going to start very soon giving us this money out. And guys, I believe they are. I really do. Will we get it this month? I don't know. I'll tell you when we get it for sure, I think, is when Bruce and the other guy, hey, guys, quits talking about it. I think that's when we'll get it. It'll come as a surprise. The other day it was mentioned, senior citizens. Senior citizens, we was told we were going to get up to $5,000 a month. Well, now what they're saying, whatever you make a month, you're going to get doubled. And that's not $5,000 still for me, and that's not for Ron. But you know what? It doesn't matter because at least they're giving us something. And if you can live right now, Janet, if you can live right now, Tony and Papa G, on what you're making, how easy is your life going to be when you're getting double? But when you have your health back because you get on these magical beds, how great is that going to be? What is the song? How great thou art, Larry Smith. How great thou art, Karen. And that's what it's all about. Karen, thank you for sending me the stuff you've been sending me. I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't know people back because I get caught up in so much stuff. But how great thou art. Bobo, it's good to see you here. Let's see what we got to read. I've told enough stories. Let's see what we got to read. I don't know exactly what. Tonight I shared a picture with my daughter, and I hope you can see this. This is when my daughter 8 years ago was living in her old house. 8 years ago, where they had the TV right under it, they had a little table. Ella would have been 4 years old, and Liam would have been almost 3. And they're sitting there eating, and Mommy and Daddy says, turn. They have no shirts on, but this is the picture. 8 years ago, I just sent it to my daughter before the show. She said, "Ah." I said, "I thought you would like that." She said, Take me back to them little days. Let me live them again. I miss them so much. Ella's now 12 years old, but she don't look 12 years old. Liam's now 10. He'll be 11 on the 4th of September, but he's growing up. He's a little man now. I want my little kids back. Addison, the little gymnast, she's still Addison, and you guys remember her when we used to do meetings. And she would help me. All she wanted to do was smile. Beyond healing, the quantum leap. They never wanted you to imagine what happens after the activation. The special beds are more than just medical equipment. They are accelerators of evolution. They do more than just fix the body. They make improvements to it. DNA activation that releases long suppressed skills. It's just a few minutes. Cellular regeneration can reverse decades of aging. Neurological repair that gets rid of addiction, anxiety, PTSD, and depression at their root. For the cabal, however, the most terrifying thing is that a healed person is uncontrollable. It's not impossible. It is impossible to manipulate a human with an activated DNA. A person can never be enslaved again if they are aware of the truth about their own bodies. This is not merely the end of illness. A new race of humans has begun. A race of awakened, powerful and independent creatures. They attempted to stop this quantum leap and they didn't succeed. The present is the future. There is nothing can stop what is about to happen. I like to say the song, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. Enter the official NESARAGESARAQFS channel before the next transmission drops. EBS, the emergency broadcast system, is on its way. Amidst all the chaos, the EBS is prepared to go. When the markets crash, the banks fell, and the truth about Big N, Big G, is revealed. The world will enter a new era of financial independence. Thousands of sealed indictments were unsealed. JAG tribunals were in full swing as long as many people who are swinging with them. I think you know what I mean, and I made that up because I thought it was funny. GITMO was overflowing with traders, rogue bankers, Zionists, operatives, and top Freemasons facing justice as a result of martial law. Don't miss what is coming next. EBS is live. Then they tell you to enter. Now, what I want to say about the EBS and what I want to say about this, guys. This is something else about Big N and Big G. I just found it. This is something that Ron or someone sent me. I think it was Ron, about what I just read. But this looks very interesting. Big N, Big G, QFS. You can see the memo. You will hear and encounter this reality before it's explained on television. Either tonight or today, with the PDFSs receive a new seal. Treasury pages will subtly switch to archive mode banners. Pay stubs funded by the QFS rail may arrive early or with a different reference line. Some mortgages have temporarily audit hold on escrow and fees, no actions is required. 48 hours later in waves, a one-time biometric pair is needed for phase 2 of the public wallet. There is no SSN entered without lines on payroll portals. Read, pause, agency's dashboard display a tariff credit note. Expect lower ATM limits and less maintenance on weekends as community banks switch to the new ledger. Avoid signing updated loan terms that are presented to you during audits. Await the briefings. Don't force updates or reinstall apps after the EBS tone. Steer clear of office visits, with the majority of confirmations will be digital. Bring this to the meeting. A picture ID, the last 2 pay stubs of any small business tax letters, and the most recent mortgage statement. Take a screenshot of a current balance both before and after pairing. In the first wave, who is relieved, veterans and fixed income pensions are processed using QFS rails. Small businesses were enrolled by community banks, Revelation windows. Homeowners were reported for unlawful junk fees during the initial title sweep. Indications that we are in a tunnel. Market feeds print data void for longer than 6 months. The gold spot flashes 888.88 on rel exchanges for a minute. State portals now have the header service by Treasury. When C-SPAN switches to silent seating chart, there is no commentary. When the tone is reached, advice wallet pairing should come after brief briefing on the benefits of Big N and Big G. Debt lines will alternate between fulfilled and reconciled after an audit batch posting. Use the bank you already trust. Bank portals offer small business relief buttons. Very interesting, very interesting. But one last thing I want to talk to before I read this last thing I have. The one thing I wanted to talk to is we're going to be going in to the days of darkness. When we go into these days of darkness, they're going to give us a certain amount of time to get home. But something I read, they're going to give us this certain amount of time to get home because you're going to have non-believers. But while we have this certain amount of time, if you have someone that is a non-believer, go to their house and say, did you get your message? Yes, but I don't understand it. Take 5 minutes to explain it to them. Tell them you can explain more when the darkness ends, but to make sure they're doing what they need to do. They have a little time. If they need a little cash, go get it from the bank. If they have a little time, if they need to go to the store and get some extra groceries, go do it. This is not a punishment. This is changing over to the new world. And we're going to have to do this, Larry and David and Janet and Cindy. Good to see you, Cindy. It's a different Cindy, by the way. Bill Woods, Bobo, Larry. We're going to have to do this for the people who refuse to open their eyes. If they don't open their eyes after, then we're going to have to look after them when we're going through this. We know Lynn. We know Larry. We know Papa G. That we were sent here for a reason. And I truthfully believe this is our main reason. It looks like I clicked on the wrong one. Restored Republic via the GCR updates as of March 16, 2026. Summary. In a report, Judy Bidington, a renowned journalist and author, has shed light on the recent developments of the global currency reset, GCR, as of March 16, 2026. According to Bidington, the world is on the cusp of a revolutionary change in global financial systems with far-reaching implications for individual governments, the economies worldwide. As of Sunday, March 15, 2026, banks were not compliant with Basel III regulations were closed, with their doors sealed by midnight, assets frozen, and executive taken into military custody. The drastic measures was part of a larger operation to bring the global financial system under the control of the U.S. Treasury, backed by gold and other assets. The TRUMP Global Military Alliance has reportedly breached underground vaults where trillions of dollars were hidden, seizing gold and the securities from the cabal networks that have been stealing people's monies since 1913. The significance of these events cannot be overstated. According to Bidington, President the Hat has activated the gold/asset-backed global currency reset, returning 209 countries to the gold standard and closing non-compliant banks. This move is part of a broader effort to implement the Big N and Big G laws, which will wipe out debt and bring about a new era of financial freedom. The privately owned Federal Reserve has been transferred to a sovereign government of America's new U.S. Treasury, making a significant shift in the control of global financial system. One of the most significant implications of the developments is the abolition of income tax. The Internal Revenue Service is being transformed into the External Revenue Service, with government to function solely on the money from tariffs and a 14% flat tax on new items bought, with exceptions of food, medicine, used homes, and cars. This move is expected to return taxpayers' money back to under the control of the people. The report also provides insight into the timing of these events. On Sunday, March 15th, a green light 11-11 signal was given, marking the beginning of the final alert E blank 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 end phase. Tier 4B ISO 222 on Telegram was notified, and the global currency reset was synchronized. Foreign currency and ZIM bond holders in Tier 4B were advised to watch emails from Wells Fargo, which will guide them on setting up their foreign currency exchange ZIM bond redemption appointments. Redemption centers will begin processing live appointments in the first week of April in accordance with the full GESARA protocol. The schedule is already being filled with authorized participants, and individuals will receive direct encrypted alerts with their time slot. At the redemption centers, biometric authentication will be used. Verifying identity and asset-backed rates will be used to verify and exchange ZIM, dinar, dong holdings. Participants will receive digital quantum card linked to their sovereign QFS wallet, as well as an overview of project support, funds, debt clearance, and post-exchange asset management. The security procedures in place are robust, with military-grade encryption, surveillance, safeguarding, and the facilities. The quantum ledger records every action, ensuring transparency and verification. In conclusion, the report by Judy Biden highlights the monumentous changes taking place in global financial system, the activation of the global currency reset, the implementation of NESARA and GESARA laws, and transfer of the Federal Reserve to the sovereign government of America. New U.S. Treasury mark a significant shift towards a more equitable and transparent financial system. As the world embarks on the new era of financial freedom, it is essential to stay informed and be prepared for changes that are unfolding. Now, in closing in a minute, I want to add a little bit more to that. What was said, but what wasn't said. What was said is everything I read. What wasn't said is the wars Iran has to be over. It has to be. Every other war has to be. Russia and the Ukraine have to be. To me, you don't see it here. But I just showed you. I'm smiling like I've never smiled before because on the inside, I know that the war is ending. I know that we're going to be going soon. You can't keep putting it off. Remember, guys, it's not about the money. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's always been about saving the children. The money and everything else comes. And I truthfully believe what we shared tonight. I thought it was a loving show. It must be because Nita W. and Janet and David, we have 102. I think that's the max we've had in a whole show, and we're over an hour into the show. I come on tonight not knowing what I was going to talk about. I knew things I wanted to talk about. I did not know Ron had got me that much information, or other people had got me that much information. And for everybody over here still with us, for the people who, well, 3 left, but the 99 people that's still with me, thank you. Thank you with all my heart. But these war endings, these beds, and this money will all come. We just have to be patient. I thank each and every one of you for coming tonight, being here with us, and I look forward to sharing more with you on Wednesday. But remember one thing, when I come on, I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm not going to ask you for this, and I'm not going to ask you for that. Who knows? Maybe Wednesday might be a call that we just talked. It might be a celebration call. We might be exuberant that we've got the numbers. And I would be, because getting the numbers, the wars do not have to be over. But when we announce that we're in the NESARA and the GESARA, the 209 countries, we have to be war-free. And that means more to me. I go back to when I was 10 years old, and they was talking about, it used to be the Soviet Union. They talked about how they were going to start World War III, and World War III would end the world. Now World War III is being fought on the internet. We don't have to worry about the world ending. It's going to get better. We're going to live heaven on earth. Dear Lord, as we come to the end of the night show, thank you for providing my people and to me so much great information. I thought tonight's show was great. I don't know what other things, but as long as I'm happy and others are happy, that's what matters. Some will like it, some won't, Lord, but I ask that everyone that watched the show, everyone that needs you, especially Michael and others, look after them, Lord. Don't let them leave. They've struggled so long. Keep them here for the beds. My little dog Dasher, let me get her on the bed. She's fought so hard to stay here with me for many, many years. Just take care of all of us and put angels on our shoulders. A little girl that when she was born, her mother was found out that she had cancer. She had cancer, the mother did. And now they have hospice in. Lord, look after this beautiful woman over in the Herscher area. Look after her and keep her strong enough to get her to the beds and let her live so her little 5-year-old daughter will have a mother. Don't take her away. Don't take her away and ruin this little girl's life. But Lord, we know you love each and every one of us, and we pray to you each and every time we have a show. In our Savior, your Son's name, Jesus Christ, amen and amen. Yes, guys, I was gonna tell you about this little girl. She's 5 years old. She's redhead, and my niece shared a picture of me. And as my niece was sharing it, she broke down in tears. I had to give her a hug so people would not see her crying, because there were so many people there, because her mom, the day she was born, her mom has really not been able to be the mom she should be. But pray for this mom and this little girl, that she can beat this. Pray that hospice can go back and she can get on these beds and we can keep her around for many, many years. And this little girl can become the happiest little girl in the world. No 5-year-old little girl deserves that. Just keep praying, everyone. Keep your spirits up. And we'll work on more on Wednesday night. Thanks, everyone, for coming here. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. Hey, look, I talked long enough. John finally made the show. He finally made it. I think he made it. How long have we been on? Oh, wow, man, this is a long show. 1 hour and 10. John made it at the 1 hour and 9 minute. And I'm just teasing, John. It's the first time I saw you. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Everyone, bring on the med beds. We're going to end with Karen Alsbury. I'm going to end with Karen Alsbury saying, bring on the med beds. Bring them on. Let us all get healthy. Let us live the lives we deserve. John was just listening tonight. He loves me, and it loves the bugs. Thank you, John. Thank you for all the amens, the thumbs up, the smile faces. But most of all, thank you being part of Patriot 5, Patriot 6, and family. We are family. Maybe we'll start singing that song too in the show. Maybe halfway through we'll take a break and play the song We Are Family. We'll see. You guys can all put in the comments on Wednesday night. Would you like to take a little break halfway through the show and play a 3-minute song that We Are Family? I think it's a great idea, but I'll leave it up to you guys. Send messages wherever. If we get enough support, we'll do it. It's just something we need to do. And I keep reading. Bring on them special beds. Yes. Good night, everyone. We love you all. Thanks for showing up, and we'll see you Wednesday night, if not before.